Welcome back to episode 104 of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. Now, in the last episode, I asked you, what did you want to see from the Cornerstones event? As obviously Warp Speed was ending, obviously one of the best events that we've gotten just in terms of the cards that we were able to make, all with 99 speed. So that led, what would make you want to make a Cornerstones player item? Now that we've got it released, let's talk about it a little bit. I haven't done a rankings video on the master set items yet. I'm going to play wild card and kind of get a feel of, because I think that if you are really looking to make a Cornerstones player item, you really want a well-informed decision. So I'm going to use as many of them as I can, because simply this event feels a lot like the HUT 2000s event. They introduce a new mechanic into the game where you're making two of the master set items for a 93. Not really a new mechanic. They did it with the next gen item, but the cost is so absurd in relative terms, and with the next event more than likely being team of the season, it's just tough to stomach. So I think it's again another issue of just timing of when they're releasing these events. Again, if they would have done this event first, then Warp Speed, then go that way. I think that maybe they had potential. However, one thing is for certain, that when they do events like this, where it's trade in two of a normal master set item, 92, to get a 93, there, you get the free zone abilities, which is nice, but something that isn't addressed this year in HUT is that everything's just going up +1. And the real issue that we're running into is that at launch of the game, pulling an 85, where you need two 85s to make an 86, for example, is far easier. When you get into the point where you're like trading two 92s and they have to be event 92s to get the new 93 item, that value almost diminished. I'll give you a perfect example. If you've been playing the game for quite some time, remember when team builders used to go to 98 and then you had to trade in two 98s for a 99? It's like, what is the point? That is a awful value. That's kind of what we're running into here, and I hope that they see that that kind of is going to show out in the amount of sets that are completed, because they can track that data. They can see what sets are being made, and then usually that will impact future content. For example, team builders at launch of the game, no one was making them. They started releasing, 83 overalls in wild card and things like that, so that we could get the team builders so that they were actually being used, right? Like that's the things that we can see them do because they get that data. But these types of events, the only way that I could see this working is instead of trading in 292s, by the way, give one back account bound. Like, I don't even know why they wouldn't do that. Is the fear that everyone's team's going to be too good? Or is it that, you can't have that much value? You can't do anything with an account bound card other than use it. So, big miss there. But secondly, like, I would. One of the biggest issues in HUT is that we don't get rewarded by using the card specifically. Okay. So, I mean, you've got event objectives where it's like score goals with whatever event is out, things like that. I'm talking about you have all of the master set items at 92 overall. You make Mario Lemieux. You score goals with that specific Mario Lemieux card. Make it 100. Make it a lot. Okay. And then that gives you a token. Use that token to then upgrade Mario Lemieux. Now, obviously, an XP system would be the best, but it is sort of along those lines. If we would see that, if you're going to release a 93, because then you get rewarded for scoring more. I think that you should get rewarded for like every online goal you get 4, like as opposed to just scoring offline. That would probably be a way to do it as well. That's more about scaling, but nonetheless, I just wanted to address that. So today we get into the comments about what you guys wanted to see from the Gallery of Greats event, or sorry. Funny, the Cornerstones event, and kind of want to see your feedback, because now that we know what happened. So let's get into the comments. We've got, this is from Turkey. He says, is this an absurd thought? Power-up icons and X-Factor stats should match the overall or newly released cards identically. EA obviously doesn't want the power-up icons and X-Factors to be better than the releases, but if they aren't as good, then they don't seem to hold any value on most people's teams. Matching stats would allow different builds of the same player. Example, Mario can be slow but have a max face of 92, or fast at 91. Then power-up icons get a choice of what archetype they want to build. Ooh, so you're saying that if they come out with a card that has like 99 skating, you could choose between the speedster version and maybe it lowers his. Oh, that's interesting. That would require some tech input in the game. That'd be kind of cool. I would love that if there was different builds. Oh, that would be sick. 100% agree. So if they come out with like a a Wayne Gretzky card that's a sniper as opposed to the like a playmaker. You could choose which build you want. Oh, would love that. But I wouldn't anticipate them ever being able to do that in the next 5 years. I set my expectations really low, but I do like that idea. That's cool. It's a long one. From Tom, he says, "Hey, Sleeves, thanks for the video. Great as always. I think it's a downgrade from years past. The fact that cards like, example right now, 85s are basically price locked for the remainder of events like this. I understand that they want to make the overalls more affordable, but the overall jump is a bit weird, especially since the 87s need to be event items for MSPs. This is one of the biggest issues with the game that I cannot understand why they are so dead set on this. I really don't understand why we can't just use any overalls for a collectible. It is clear that the pathing they want you to use is new event comes out, do an objective, get an event card, use that event card to get better event cards, use those event cards to get the best event card, right? Like that is clearly the path that they're trying to get you to do. I then let us make the master set player items after the event is over, right? Because we're just chasing using a team that isn't our team to get the master set player item that we're going to have to take out of our lineup to put in, you know what I mean? Like it's so counterproductive. I'm not a big fan of that. Let us use 87s for the event 89s that translate to MSPs, or even random 89s that translate to MSPs if they're feeling particularly kind. I think that would make everything way more affordable, and you can also create an evident pathway for newer players. Like if you have a bunch of random 85s laying around, you can make some 87s or even 89 from this event, use them in your lineup. You don't need to complete the event's MSPs that you want. No worries. You can trade the cards in the next event and hopefully get yourself a different MSP. All they have to do is go back to the collectible format. You got a card, trade it in, get X amount of collectibles. The higher rate of the card, the more collectibles you get, make the cards you want. It would actually be cool if every card from the event could be made. Like, you want an 89 overall Mario Ferraro card from the Warp Speed event, then let us just make it. It'll cost like, I don't know, 5 collectibles as opposed to the master set that costs like 40. Every event card should be made. That'd be sick. I think that'd be a really cool way to go about it. And then for maybe like Warp Speed and Gallery of Greats, leave it the way events have operated so far. Event items only, sets 89, completing MSPs, so they are slightly harder to get, but not out of this world. So if people are trying to get all the Gallery of Greats and Warp Speed cards, go nuts and grind everything you got. It also shakes up the auction house a little bit, if that's something EA cares about. And then since it's nice for people who play casually, because you could still be more of a grind to get that one special card because it's worth it because they get the free abilities. The thing is that they're having a really hard time making every event feel special because they're going all out on these few events, right? Which devalues the other ones, right? Which is always going to be difficult. And these special events need to go right before Fantasy and Team of the Year and Team of the Season, like you've said in past videos, so that everyone, the people who grind every time, casual players, have a choice of whether they want some cards with free abilities or some of the big events or a couple of both, whatever it is. Yeah, I think that they really suffered from lack of timing well. In the last couple months. Like I said, Team of the Year, we knew when Team of the Year was coming. If they just would have put Hut 2000s, then Gallery of Greats, it would have been 3 banger events in a row. Same thing with this. If Cornerstone was first, then even Sharpshooter wasn't bad. It was just the choices. And then Warp Speed, it's like, man, right before Team of the Season, it's like you got to make some decisions, Hey, Sleeves, with the Cornerstone event being lackluster as we all expected, EA seems to make me feel like I'm missing out on something if I don't partake in this week's event. The cost is just too much for these cards right now with Team of the Season approaching soon, but the appeal of free abilities on the 93 is strong. Either way, I don't see myself making any of these cards this week, but I certainly feel a pull to do so for that dopamine hit. Otherwise, I wanted to ask a question about the Team of the Season format that we may expect. I'll answer your first question first. This is what they're trying to do, evidently. Like I said, the reduction in consistently upgrading the year-long chase cards has devalued them because they're not giving you the same reward that they would in years past. And we priced them like we did in years past. I guarantee you next year, when the game launches, let's pretend everything's the exact same. Power-up icons and X Factors are going to be much cheaper. And if they're not, I don't care. Like, the hardcore player base will know I'm not going after that. The only people that are going to prop up those prices are the Are the grinders or the people that are spend a ton of money because they just need to have whatever the new shiny toy is? Everyone's going to be savvy enough to know we're not doing any of that. Awful value, awful waste of coins, none of that. So that being said, they have really created this FOMO of the event because it was even worse. The first couple months of the first couple events of the year, it was like you could only make each master set for week 1, and then you couldn't even make it during week 2 of the event, which was insane. It took so many years to get the ability to make all the master set player items throughout the event, right? So like that's really tough, right? So they're creating this FOMO of like, hey, you've got a week to make these 93s. You better grind. And it's like, I'll be honest with you, those 93s are going to be awesome. They got free abilities, whatever. I'll still take any of the warp speed cards over them. Any of them. Take any of the warp speed card over the week 1 93 cornerstone cards. Not that the cornerstone cards aren't good, but they're not ant skaters, and that's really that's the risky run releasing an event like that. But to be honest about the the FOMO of it, dude, just let it go. You'd be surprised at what happens, man. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that if they just stepped away from the game for 7 days, even 10 days, and you came back, you're just breaking that addiction of like, okay, my day is done. I'm going to play NHL. Okay, NHL structure is the same. New cards came out on Friday. Going to be excited. Going to grind out over the weekend because I got to get my 20 champs games in. Got to get my 30 rivals wins, all that kind of stuff. If you just step away, I do it. I've been doing it a lot. I haven't played a lot of NHL over the last 10 days because MLB released. I'm having a ton of fun with MLB. And eventually my interest in MLB will die just because I'm grinding MLB so much. This is the nature of video games, right? So you got to just like try a different game. Just Google highest rated video game in a genre you like and just give it a shot. Break the chain of feeling need to play. I wanted to ask you about Team of the Season format as we expect. A buddy and I started hoarding 87s recently, thinking that would be the entry into Team of the Season. However, looking back on Team of the Year, the format was much different than what we are seeing now with required 87s back in January. Why should we think they will require 87s again for higher rated, probably 93s? Is there reason to believe they will require something more like 89s, 90s to build Team of the Season sets? Yeah, that would be my guess, is that it'll be higher. I don't know though, because Team of the Season is like, events keep the player base playing. Team of the Season, Team of the Year, Fantasy, even not even Fantasy, but Team of the Year and Team of the Season, that gets the player base, even the casual player base, to come back and look at the game. So those operate in like a different format because it's like we need to get as many people into the game as possible because it's our last big event, right? So I don't want to guess, you know, because if you're wrong, you've just lost hundreds of thousands of coins. If you shoot one too low, what I would recommend for all the people that did the 79, the 479 sets, and they were pulling all these cool 90 overall and above cards, which were pretty useless in the warp speed event, because if they weren't event cards, they were so cheap anyways, which is why I was saying don't do those during the warp speed event, because those master set items are so important if you're going to play for a long time. The Cornerstones event, if you don't get any of the master set items, they're not like S tier. You are not going to regret not making them when the event is done. That's what S tier is to me. There's a lot of A tier. In fact, they're probably all A tier, where like if you got them, great cards, some of the best in the game, but their value is not nearly what it was with the warp speed cards, because those cards are all clear them in my opinion. So what I'm saying is, like, this event, I'm throwing all my cards in the 79, the 4x79s, because if you do pull something, although they might nerf those packs, if you do pull something, at least it's something for the next event. Like, that's what I would recommend, right? Like, because we have no idea what the entry is, right? I would assume it's lower. I don't think it'll be the same as what it is now. Hey, Slaves, just got into Hut, and I've been playing for about 2 weeks now, and I'm wondering what I can do with my team. Here's my team. He's got Wilson, Fantilli, Kaprizov. Number in parentheses are the player overall. Oh, okay. You are early on. Much appreciated. If there's anything I can do, help. Okay, so first thing I would do is grab the base Connor McDavid, I think. Like, base Connor McDavid is kind of like the first card to go after, simply because at an 87 overall, it's just the best of them, right? You're someone that might want to make a master set item from this event. You know, I would try and get a centerman. So, I mean, you could grab Mario Lemieux. You're in a tough spot because you're starting real late, right? I'm doing wild card. I'm getting as many collectibles as possible. Hmm. I'm trying to make an MSP, I think. Because an MSP is going to play line one no matter what. You don't have any of the warp speed card, so it's not like you're. I'd probably try and make Lemieux in this case. The 92, not the 93. After I posted this comment in the same pack, I pulled 90 overall Team of the Year Lemieux and the 92 overall cornerstone Rick Nash. Well done. Okay. That changes things. Don't do Lemieux. Dude, you might low key Wade Redden. It's officially time to boycott this game and stop talking nice about it. Who should you choose? I can't use my fodder to get a ton of 83s and 84s, not to mention 82s, which I refuse to drop 20 on an X Factor. They released a way better Mario Lemieux than his holo. Been following you a long time, Sleeves, and now is the time to lay it out there against these scam artists. Anyone a lawyer so we can come up with a class action lawsuit? I'd rather play Call of Duty and get my butt kicked by glitches than to keep getting bent over by these people. Wasted the pre-order on cover athletes, etc., etc. Next event will be even better and make more cards obsolete. Please, for the love of God, stop with this game. I know I am. No more need help with your team because at this point, who really cares? I have money too. It just seems like a waste to grind and a waste to spend money when your MSPs can't be used in sets and become obsolete in 2 weeks. Well, first of all, brother, you should not be playing this game. If it invokes this level of emotion for you, you should not be playing this game. I don't, I personally, like I said, I get too invested in it and I try and find a different game, and it's my job. If you're this upset, you need to not play it. And for the record, I don't spend money in NHL because I don't feel like it is worth it at all. It's very easy to make a no money spent team, given the amount of time you play. And even if you don't have a lot of time to play, it's very easy to make a no money spent team. What I would recommend is you stop playing the game and try something new, a different video game, different hobby. Don't know what it is, right? You've said you've got money, so you've got, some opportunity to try a different video game, and then wait and see what happens at launch of next year. And don't fall into the same cycle. Don't spend money and buy cover athletes and wait it out. Keep your coins, right? Play differently. Don't They haven't really changed the format of Hut in the sense that every 2 weeks we get a new event, the cards are slightly better. We're chasing the carrot. That's almost every Ultimate Team game, by the way, guys. MLB just went 2 years of not having it work like that, and everyone freaked out and they went back to that. We need something to chase a little bit, right? Their new format of power-up icons and things like that, if they do actually just get rid of them or don't improve upon the year-long chase, massive issue. And I don't want to see how that plays out because I think it'll be a big miss. But and like I said, if you're feeling like this, for the love of God, buddy, just gotta find a new game, man. And I appreciate the passion. I feel like that. I feel you, man. I feel you. The standard is one free ability these days towards events. Also, why is common response to having a good team? How much money did you spend? Then proceeding to make fun of me for spending disposable income. Thank you for letting me rant. I've said this a ton. Just because I don't spend money, I don't hate on anyone that has spent money. It's frustrating when I see that's for another video. If you, I 100% agree with you. If you have, I'll give you a perfect example. I love Pokemon TCG Pocket. It is the best mobile game that I think I've ever played for myself because I'm a massive Pokemon fan. I've loved it ever since I was a little kid, and it is just a perfect mix of like being able to battle and everything like that. I pay $15 a month for it. And I don't feel bad because I play the game literally daily and I actually want to support it. MLB was so good that I almost spent money because I really, really wanted to play the game, right? When the product is good, go and spend money. If you are getting your enjoyment out of NHL and you have a job in which you cannot play the game a ton, then yeah, use your money, man. Use your money. It's frustrating because obviously the more money spent, the more it doesn't invoke change. However, I can tell you, there's no way that they made the same amount of money from Hut this year. Just A, based on the economy, and B, the amount of people that were asking me what they were doing with pre-order points in November just shows me that the people that had free packs to open didn't even open them because at the beginning of the game, when everyone spends money, there wasn't even packs that were worth it. So, when you get someone asking you how much money did you spend, just reply back mad cause bad. That's what I would do. But last one here. My guess: cornerstones equals 99 endurance. Players picked that have endured the test of time to be cornerstones or given a team. Dude, that's a great way to look at it. Like Chelios playing at least 50. Picks players that have spent most of all career with one team. Team of the season, the usual free abilities, customized synergies, likely multiple points in each synergy. I think that's the only real way to make the next cards improve from more soon ones. Yeah, I don't agree with you. I don't disagree here. I think that would have been a good way to go. I actually don't even hate the MSPs from the Cornerstones event. I think they're cool. Wade Redden was awesome back in the day. It's just you went in with the Warp Speed event. There's no way that you can beat that, right? The only way that you beat the Gallery of Greats and the Warp Speed event at the time of those releases is by Team of the Season and Team of the Year. The only events that can come after those. It's the only ones. And I hope they learn that next year because you get these like dead events when they could be cool, but they're not. So it's unfortunate. That's going to do it for today's episode of Who Should You Choose. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.